Hello to all of the attendees. We're just waiting for additional attendees to arrive. All of our panelists are ready to go, so if you don't mind just hanging on, we will start the presentation shortly. Maybe just take a few minutes to get familiar with the interface for submitting questions, and we'll be doing Q&A toward the end of the presentation.
So, Steve, I think we should probably get started.
Okay, one moment. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so you've handed control over to me?
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the first in our webinar series. Today we're going to be speaking with the technology experts. In the information you've received, we do have additional webinars that are going to be coming up soon. Just a heads up for everybody, the one next week, which is going to be the implementation one, most of our panelists are from Houston, and for pretty obvious reasons, that one's being postponed. We won't be having the session next week. The one next week will be moved to September 27th. Let's get started on the one today. And Steve, could you move the slide? I don't have control. Thanks. I'm going to be the facilitator today. My name's Lloyd Rankin. We're Group ASI, and we're the company that runs the conference in Houston. And we specialize in helping companies implement AWP and WFP, Advanced Work Packaging and Work Phase Planning. I was also on the committee that developed Advanced Work Packaging and the committee that developed Work Phase Planning, and I've been doing this for about 12 years now. Let's jump right into the session. We have today on our panel representatives from Hexagon, CCT, Autodesk, Kahua, and Bentley. Unfortunately, the Bentley representative is also based in Houston, so he's not going to be able to call in today. So we have 4 of the 5 companies that we had talked to you about, and they will be presenting now. As many of you may be aware, when the work phase planning and advanced work packaging models were developed, there has been talk about the benefits of using technology. However, both organizations tend not to like to mention specific companies as they see it may be taken as an endorsement. We feel it's very beneficial for you to know what technology is out there that could be of help to you. And so we have 4 of the top technology companies on the line today, and they're going to share with you how they can assist in AWP implementation. Steve, could you move it? It's not working for me. Okay,
Yes.
so the purpose of this session is really to give you an opportunity to talk with the sponsors, hear what they're going to be talking about in detail at the conference, and give you an opportunity to start your networking, because advanced work packaging is really in its infancy. It's taken over globally, but knowing who to speak to, what's out there, that's critical for your success. And I think today you've got an opportunity to hear from some of the best in the technology field. Steve, could you move it, please? Thanks. The format for our presentation today is going to be, we have a single question: how can technology support AWP implementation and improve overall project performance? We're going to hand it over to the panel member. They're going to introduce themselves and then respond to this question. And then after all of the panel members have done their presentations, then we're going to open it up to questions and answers from you, the audience. So we're going to hand this over to Scott Oskins of Hexagon. He's going to be speaking on behalf of Yogesh, who is in China today. So Scott, could you please introduce yourself and take this over?
Sure, thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Well, yeah. Actually, you can just go ahead and progress the slides from your side, Scott.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just a second here. Okay. So, hello everyone. As Lloyd mentioned, I'm Scott Oskins, and I'll be representing Hexagon PPM. Hexagon PPM is the world's leading provider of enterprise engineering design software and project control solutions. By transforming unstructured information into a smart digital asset, our clients are empowered to visualize, build, and manage structures and facilities of all complexities, ensuring safe and efficient operation throughout the entire life cycle. So PPM, which is short for Process, Power, and Marine, is part of Hexagon, which is a leading global provider of information technology solutions that drive productivity and quality across geospatial and industrial landscapes. So as Lloyd said, I'm presenting on behalf of Yogesh Srivastava, who's currently out of country on business, and he'll be actually presenting at our breakout session at the AWP conference and sitting in on the panel discussion. So a little bit about me. I'm currently the product owner of Hexagon PPM Smart Construction product. Prior to this role, I spent about 15 years with KBR and 5 years with Jacobs on project assignments across the globe in the oil and gas sector. And I hold a bachelor's in construction management from Purdue. As stated, I'm sitting in for Yogesh, who'll be representing at the breakout session. Yogesh is currently a co-chair of the AWP committee for COA, and he's a co-author of the CII COA AWP best practices. I'll be giving you some brief insight on what Yogesh will be speaking to you about at the AWP conference. He'll be sharing what Hexagon PPM has to offer customers who are looking to implement the AWP process from project inception all the way through to plant operations, and what our products have to offer that are in direct correlation to the AWP process. There we go. Thank you. We have been observing companies and organizations have been taking an active interest in adopting the AWP process They're coming up with plans on how to get their projects and organizations production ready. In the AWP conference, our focus will be to share how projects can fast-track their AWP implementation plan and how our technology portfolio provides unmatched integrated value from concept to completions. So we want to talk a little bit about the AW in AWP, which is the advanced work. And it's the starting point for successful AWP implementation. And we'll be sharing with you what are some of the key aspects of the business process in our technology system, which when set up and implemented earlier, sets the project for downstream successes. So in addressing the matter of AWP, we've placed a strong focus on the construction management aspects of project lifecycle holistically. So including systems that are often in-house or in our client environment and give a true picture of how the work gets done. But here's a small depiction of that life cycle. And what we want to show you is how we have products that span not only the AWP process, but the entire E, P, and C life cycle and beyond. So that would include our Smart 3D, Smart Plant P&ID, Smart Plant Electrical, Smart Plant Instrumentation, which all comprise our engineering suite. We have EcoSys, which is a fully comprehensive project control system. Smart Materials, which is a complete procurement and materials management solution. Smart Construction, which is my product. It's a complete, a robust AWP and workplace planning application. I got to go back here. WQMS, which is a weld management solution. Continuum Edge is a completions and systems turnover application, and our Smart Plant Operations, which is an operations application. So Yogesh will also be providing some insight where we've gone out to prove this process on our own using all of our own products. So in essence, we've battle tested our products to ensure they can perform in alignment with the AWP process. I'm trying to get back on track here with our slides, sorry. All right. So we'll also show you that through the three important stages of the AWP cycle, the Hexagon PPM has products that will cover all aspects of the process and deliver a high degree of integration between our products. In a few cases where other industry applications are used, for example as P6 for scheduling or SAP, we've collaborated with those companies to provide highly sophisticated interfaces with those products. And just go through the different stages of the AWP cycle here, just to give you an idea of what we have to offer and how our suite of products encompass all different aspects of the AWP cycle. So in closing, just want to extend our invitation to you to join our session, which is on Tuesday on the 10th from 1:30 to 2:30 in the Hexagon room. And we look forward to meeting you in person and seeing you there. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Thank you, Scott. Steve, could you move it forward one slide, and we'll have CCT speak to you next. Amir, would you mind taking over and filling us in on yourself and your organization?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
I would like to welcome you from Athens, Greece, and I wish our friends in Houston are doing fine. And the weather here is very different from what you have in probably otherwhere. So it's my pleasure to present to you today. My name is Amr Sirsi. I'm the Vice President for Marketing and Consulting for CCT. It's not moving, I don't know. Yes. I'm also, we are, actually the technology provider for CCC, which is a global contractor with business mainly in the, in the Middle East and so on. But can you move one slide back, please?
I'll tell you what, Amr. No worries. I can run it for you, and you just let me know when it's time to progress. Okay?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. Just I'm using just to move backward. It's not working for me. I don't know why.
No problem. You're on the speaker introduction?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
So basically, with CCC, which is a global contractor, I was in charge of the EPC business unit, where we did like $1 billion worth of plants and work, and I was in charge of implementing project control systems in our job sites. I have a PhD in construction management from the University of California at Berkeley. Next, please. Now, CCT is not new to AWP. Actually, this is the third time we sponsor the AWP conference. We are known in the oil and gas business as the provider. Next, please. No. Can you hit one more? Next slide, please. Next. Yeah, CCC was established in 1998, and it is established in. Sorry, I seem to have technical difficulty from here.
Sorry, Amr. So you were looking for the when you started with AWP?
CCT, no, CCT introduction.
I see. Okay. So there may be a little bit of a delay. So I'll
tell you. Yeah, I will tell you when to move to the next slide. Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So if you can go back to the CCT introduction.
Yes, that's what we're on now. I'm thinking there may be a bit of a delay because of the distance between us. Is everybody else seeing the introduction to CCT slide on screen?
I don't see it.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, in my side I don't see it. So anyway, so it seems that the connection with Athens is the problem. So basically, until I see it, we are, CCT has been in business since 1998. Yes, and we are the technology provider for CCC. Our focus is in construction applications and construction management. We are not in engineering. We are basically in the construction phase. We can help construction contractors putting in place a project control for strategy, execution plans, data preparation, and implementing our solutions or other company solutions. So, but our main strength that we are a company and people who work for construction, who work for, closely with the foreman, with the fabrication shops, understand the construction business requirement, because basically CCC, our parent company, is a self-performing contractor. We were pleased to get several awards. The most recent thing is being awarded by Shell as the best hand-on tool in 2017. Next slide, please.
Okay. So here we see a list of clients.
Yeah. So basically, these are some of the companies on the left side who have use or been involved in projects where our projects are being implemented. They vary from major oil and gas companies to EPC contractors to power industry, and as well as a building industry. Now, our solutions span basically focus on construction phase, from project control tools to shop drawing production to testing and commissioning to construction fleet management. And we have a good experience over the years in bringing data from different, authoring tools, being Intergraph, Bentley, Aviva, Autodesk, Revit. So we have Oracle, ARP systems. We bring in data into our applications and be able to use it, make it available for construction. And we have a variety, of solutions that basically, I'll try to focus in this presentation only on the AWP side, which is the C3D software. Next.
Okay.
Next slide, please.
Yep. So it says we started with AWP in 2004.
Hello.
Hi there. So the slide that I've got on screen here says that we started with AWP in 2004.
Yeah. Okay. So I just say so. Basically, we started the implementation of the AWP in 2004. As I mentioned, in the construction phase, basically, from doing let's say part of the scope, underground piping, structural steel, to a full implementation. So we think that we have a good and practical approach to how to make AWP work from the contractor side point of view. Next, please.
Okay, some key C3D advantages.
So basically, in the conference, we'll provide you, the highlight of our presentation would be on the C3D application, which is basically our developed in-house software that we have use it in these projects, for the last 10 years. And basically, it allows you, one of the strengths of this application is that your ability to bring in graphical data and be able to link it with 2D data and database data, and be able to interact with it in a very easy and logical way. So you don't have to data is visible. You can, for example, on the left side, you can see the hierarchy of the of the project. This hierarchy can be customizable. It could be a system-based, or it could be based on areas WBS, or it could be based on service or level of authority. So this customizable hierarchy is dynamic and easy to adjust. You can link it to the various data that being procurement, scheduling data, testing and commissioning data, and so in one environment you are able to interact truly between 2D and 3D. It is an open database architecture, so everything is not available for the user to be able to link data together and integrate it, and basically able to report the information. Next.
C3D work packaging workflow.
Yeah, so basically one of the main strengths of C3D that we try to simplify the process of implementation on job sites. So the software is designed in a way that is very flexible to adjust to different clients. Understanding that our contractor, CCC and similar contractors work with different oil and gas companies, being ExxonMobil, Chevron, Shell, and these companies have different requirements. So it is easy to tweak the software to be able to for the user to see and understand the logic of the software. He doesn't need to think about forms and think about, okay, well, did I fill this? No, it is a logically organized data structure, and this basically reflects the method that we advocate, but also we can adjust that. Basically, you define the work breakdown structure, in the software, basically then you define the boundaries. You have the ways to define this, whether using 3D volumes or 2D maps or query language, link it to to the constraints, the FAL templates. Then be able to check on the crews and their availability, and link to different data from different planning tools, cost tools, document control tools. And once you do this, you'll be able to go and to define the 3 months look ahead. Now, one of the strengths of this application is that you don't have to have the old data on day one. You are able to build the data progressively and do the linking as data become available. You know, we understand that construction sites don't get the information all at once. So how, you know, we're able to build these checks and balances to be able to progressively check the data and see if there are the differences, and you know, allow you to manage these BIM models differences, data differences, and report on them. And then once you build your linkage and work packages, you're able to sequence them and do the look-ahead plans. And these 3-week look-ahead plans are translated into what we call work orders. One of the main strengths that we have to address, you know, that you know, the foreman does not understand an IWP or the crew. Let's say the foreman understands, but the crew don't understand what's an IWP. He understands that I have this workload that I have to execute. I have to fabricate so many forms, or I have to deliver so many piles, or I have to you know, fabricate so many steel members or spools, piping spools. They understand the workload. So we translate the IWPs into work orders to different crews, being fab shop, being a construction, you know, and they, in a way, they understand these forms comes into it can be on a tablet, or what we use it mainly in the job sites for durability. We use digital pens so that you can update the progress and provide the punch list system. Next.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the next slide, you know, if you go one by one, it's showing the what I talked about. Please, if you can click one by one, it will show, you know, the steps, you know, the workflow.
Sure. So linking schedule WPs.
So some of the way of, you know, of course, we integrate with the both Primavera and with the Microsoft project. Next, you know, so the ability to have the two together, the Primavera, you know, the data and the Primavera and the 3D model. Next.
IWP sequencing.
Yeah, and then you are able to build your IWPs, and then this translates into work orders. If you can click one by one, because it's a little bit in my delayed on my side. So you can do the sequencing, the IW, all of this. As you can see, you have the 3D view, and the same time you are working with the different views, boxes. So we call them iBoxes, smart boxes, which you can, for example, have in one box you have the different types of crews you have, so that you can assign them. In another box you have the quantities, and so on. So this ability to interact with your data, graphical and textual in an interactive way, is one of the main strengths of C3D. Next, please.
CCT's breakout session. So what we have here is
okay. I think that's some delays here. Sorry, but basically the next, what I don't see from my side, the next steps. But basically, once you do this, you are able to create the work orders, and these work orders.
I see. Yep, we've got your generation of work orders.
Yeah, generating the work orders, and then you can update using digital pen these work orders. And once you do that, it was updated into the 3D model as well as the progress data. So we can go to the last slide, which is basically our session that we will have in the conference.
Perfect. So it's got CCT's breakout session, the title being Leveraging C3D to Ensure Compliance of Site Execution Teams. Does that sound correct?
Link data from different sources and to prepare work orders. Okay. Perfect. Are you in the last slide?
Yes. So we're looking at the CCT's breakout session slide.
I'm not sure that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amr. Sorry about the technical issues here.
Thank you very much, Amir. I have to say, I admire you for being able to work that without being able to see your slides. We're finding more and more that we're having to deal with multiple time zones, multiple countries when we're trying to implement AWP. And while the technology may be flawless, the webinar system wasn't quite as flawless. So thanks for persevering. Steve, could you move it to the Autodesk presentation? And Cody, could you take over?
Sure. I think Chuck's going to run the slides, but I will go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Cody Austin. I'm a technical account manager here at Autodesk. Been with Autodesk for over 5 years, having previously worked for Aviva. Prior to that, was in the laser scanning business, working for HiCAD and LFM. And prior to that, got my start in the oil and gas industrial construction space with Zachary 12 years ago as a QA/QC inspector. But I am coming to you live from League City, Texas, just southeast of Houston, where we got 54 inches of rain over the past few days. But I am dry and happy to be here.
And my name is Chuck Meese. I'm a senior manager on the business development team at Autodesk. Been around for a long time, 32 years of experience in design, construction, and operations across multiple market segments, industrial being one of those market segments. My role at Autodesk is to look at and understand workflows around entire project ecosystems, and that has brought me to the conversation around advanced work packaging and work-based planning for the discussion of looking at it and understanding how we work with that entire ecosystem. So if we think about who Autodesk is and we look at who we are as a company, it's really about understanding that Autodesk is really about making software for people who make things. One of the taglines of our current CEO is, if you've ever driven a high-performance car, admired a tall building, used a smartphone, driven by a refinery, watched a great film, chances are you've experienced what millions of Autodesk customers do with our platforms and products on a daily basis. It's really about giving you the power to make anything. I like it best the way our former CEO, Carl Bass, used to say it, and that is, stand anywhere in the world, turn 360 degrees, and you will see something that's been influenced by Autodesk software. So we've been around for a long time. We were incorporated in 1982. There's some financial information on us, but what I think is most important for you to understand is we do have 5.6 million professional users of our products, 3.1 million subscriptions, and 680 million students and educators have been trained and are being trained every year on Autodesk platforms. And as I mentioned in my introduction, we do work across all facets of design and construction, AEC, manufacturing, as well as media and entertainment. So to think about the whole role of advanced work packaging and the question that's been put on the table for today, if I can get the slide to advance. There we go. For us, it really came to fruition when we saw the article from The Economist earlier this year, where they talked really about the fact that this conversation is truly becoming about data, that data is surpassing oil as the world's most valuable resource. And when you think about the question that we have on hand today around how does this apply to advanced work packaging, it's important to understand this trend and what is ultimately enabling this trend, which is the cloud. So cloud and cloud-based technologies are making data readily available anywhere to any stakeholder at any time. If we could go ahead and advance to the next slide. For us, that project, the data that we're talking about in the context of AWP is truly around focusing on the concept of project information and placing that project information at the center of everything that we're doing. So if we go back to today's question, how can your technology support AWP implementation and improve overall project performance? It's really about, again, focusing on this idea of information being at the center of everything. For us, we focused a strategy that takes the trend from the Economist article, and we focused around two specific things. First one is making this creating an environment where, irrespective of the authoring application, we can consume that data and formulate a project data repository in the center of everything we do that allows the information to be assembled and then distributed. The second thing is, once this data is all assembled, embracing the cloud with solutions that have been born in the cloud and built in the cloud specifically for the purposes of making data available to the right stakeholder at the right time in the right place. So what I want to do now is turn it over to Cody, who's going to talk about our platform for doing that.
Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, so as Chuck mentioned, we are making huge investments into the cloud and definitely see the cloud as our future, and it's a large part of our strategy. We have over a decade's worth of experience in developing cloud-based solutions, and these aren't, simply, virtualizing our desktop applications and making those available, through web browsers and virtualizing desktop-based applications. It's truly building a cloud platform, and this cloud platform we call BIM 360. And it's really a centralized location for project collaboration across the entire project lifecycle, from soup to nuts, from conceptual design all the way through operations and into decommissioning, making sure that data lives at the center, eliminating the need for handover between the different disciplines. Everybody's looking at acting on the same information. Go ahead and move it to slide, Chuck, please. Thank you. Here is just a preview of BIM 360 Docs. It's our cloud-based document management solution, where we're able to manage documents of any type, from 2D drawings to PDFs to 3D models and other types of BIM data. So we're able to visualize and collaborate on both 2D and 3D information through a web browser like you're seeing here, or through iPad interfaces and other mobile solutions like iPhones. So here we're able to have access to the latest revisions of the documents, so everybody is singing from the same sheet of music. We're able to work in both offline and online modes. We realize that people who may need information in the field may not have a internet connection or a reliable internet connection. So we support we support offline modes for those types of situations. Here within BIM 360 Docs, we're able to do things such as model reviews and document reviews, add markups, create and manage issues, as well as RFIs, really eliminating the need for things like email, Excel spreadsheets for your RFI logs. We have a centralized location and repository for all project information here with BIM 360 Docs. What we're also doing in the BIM 360 world and how we're applying technology is really digitizing paper-based processes. And it's not simply just making your current paper-based process a digital process. It's really taking a step back and thinking about what information are you collecting in the field, and how is that information being circulated or distributed to the project stakeholders. On the left-hand side here, you see some of the kind of cons, I guess you could say, with paper-based processes. Very document-centric. There's always data reentry, poor data integrity. Legibility is always an issue. These are slow processes, with poor distribution. I'm collecting information in the field, writing it down, and then maybe 1 to 2 weeks later, that information is being entered into project systems and being rolled up and distributed to the people who need it. So you're always kind of 1 to 2 weeks behind. We're trying to move to more of a near real-time flow of information and distribution of data. On the right-hand side here is now our digital-based processes. So we're collecting information in the field at the point of construction, and moving more towards data-centric processes, reducing data entry, leveraging things like Siri for voice-to-text data entry. Because we don't have to re-enter this data, we can move this information around in near real time. And I say near real time because when you're working in offline mode, you're able, when you're working in offline mode, we can then synchronize the information once we connect or get an internet connection. There's centralized access to this information, cloud backup. Oops, you went one step too far, Chuck. Thanks. Standardized responses. This is really key when it comes to big data and data analytics. If you want to start leveraging things like AI and machine learning, standardized responses is definitely going to help you out. It's obviously green. We're reducing the need for paper and pens. With data comes automation, and then with online systems and database systems, we have that valuable audit trail to hold people accountable. On the next slide is just really I just wanted to mention that in our presentation at the conference, we're going to be talking about a customer case study who used, it's an EPC who used BIM 360 on a $14 billion project, and they compared their paper-based processes versus a digital-based process using BIM 360. The metrics that they got out of this pilot was an increase of 629% in productivity and a 300 to 500 increase in visibility. And the reason there's a range there is because of the working offline. Depending on how many times folks synchronized their tablets in the field, whether it was once or twice a day, maybe at lunchtime and at the end of the day, it gave them a 300 to 500% increase in visibility. But ultimately, they were able, in the case of inspecting cable tray, they were able to inspect 25% more cable tray in 1/5 of the time. So we got some really good metrics from a customer using BIM 360, and we'll go into more detail around that case study in our session. And speaking of our session, we're going to be talking about how can we align our digital construction platform, BIM 360, to the advanced work packaging best practice and methodology. We have a long history of providing visualization of field-based mobility solutions. So how can we apply these to things like workplace planning and other aspects of advanced work packaging? Chuck and myself are going to be talking there on October 11th from 10 to 11 in the Hexagon room. So we hope to see everybody there.
Thanks. Thanks very much, guys. And our next session is going to be Kahuna and Jim Wilson. So Jim, take it away. Oh, sorry, Brian, take it away.
No, this is Jim. Thank you. My name is Jim Wilson. I'm actually I'm giving the presentation here on the webinar for Brian Moore, who's our president. Brian will be giving our presentation at the conference. Brian is a serial entrepreneur. He's got over 20 years of experience in the engineering and construction software space. I think you're really going to enjoy listening to him talk. He's going to be focused on, the title of the presentation is Data Ownership and Analytics in an AWP Environment. He's going to focus really on, we're going to look at several examples of how actionable project information is going to be able to help your AWP project management teams to provide you with insight that deliver better decisions and ultimately allow you to deliver higher value assets. Can you go to the next slide? Let me tell you a little bit about, I'm going to give you just a real brief introduction to Kahuna. It's kind of interesting, if you look back 5 years ago and you ask the average Fortune 500 executive the question, how do you manage your engineering and construction supply chain? You would likely have gotten one of two answers. The first would have been what? And the second would have been, well, that's not our core competence. We pay people to do that. Today, what we see out there is industry leaders are realizing that this thing that we call the engineering and construction supply chain is responsible for delivering somewhere between 25% and 80% of the assets on their balance sheet. And they're starting to take a more active role in the way they manage this construction supply chain. And that's really one of the reasons why AWP is becoming such an important concept, I think. So at Kahuna, we deliver what we call collaborative asset lifecycle management solutions. And what we do is we help the world's leading owners, contractors, engineers, and architects. We help them to integrate this construction supply chain And what that helps people do is deliver the highest performance capital assets at the lowest possible cost. As has been the theme so far this morning, our system is a cloud-based solution, always has been and always will be. It spans the entire life cycle of your capital assets, from planning, design, and procurement through to construction and on to operations. And basically, what we do is we help corporations and government agencies and their EPC partners. We really enable more effective communication, which improves quality and safety, limits disruptions, and helps you bring new initiatives online more rapidly. Now, our solution, the Kahoot Network's delivered as it's unique in the industry in that it's delivered as an application platform as a service, and that may be a mouthful to you, but if you're familiar at all with what Salesforce.com did in the CRM marketplace, it's the same concept. We deliver a real rich set of application functionality spanning planning, design, procurement, construction, and operations, but we deliver it on a platform and a full set of development tools for that platform that enable customers and third-party developers to build their own custom apps. And what's really cool about that is, by doing this, we're really able to leverage the knowledge and the creativity of the entire industry to enable us to deliver solutions to our customers. Can you go to the next slide, please? So from an AWP perspective, there's 3 or 4 sort of key questions that I think the presentation is going to help you address. And first of all is, how do you accurately measure progress in an AWP project? And we'll talk about that from the perspective of the schedule. And this is really one of the keys to driving agility and reducing cost. Secondly, another critical challenge for large capital projects is asset turnover. So we will look at how do you streamline the process of asset test and handover. Another critical challenge we see in large capital projects is the really effective teamwork. It's one of the biggest challenges we hear from owners today is just the lack of really clarity and empowerment in their project teams. So we want to look at how do you align and empower your project teams. And finally, we want to take a look at how do you measure success in an AWP project and enable continuous improvement. Can you go to the next slide? Thank you. So on the first topic, if you think about, if you were to go back and really do a thorough analysis of every successful AWP project that's happened over the last several years, one of the critical core common elements that you're going to see in there is coordination. It's really at the core of every successful AWP project. And the execution schedule is fundamentally central to the process of coordination. Now, we're not going to talk so much about the creation of a project schedule. Creation of a project schedule, there's a lot of good tools out there, as has been mentioned already, that help you produce a high-quality project schedule. What we're going to really talk about is a whole other animal, and that's how you manage the schedule and all the tasks associated with it. Can you click the next slide, please? Thanks. What Brian's going to talk about in this session is we're going to examine how predictive analytics around the schedule can enable the early detection of problems, provide you with a more robust mechanism to evaluate contractors and avoid costly disputes at contract end. And you'll actually see an example of a scorecard for project health that we'll share with you during that session. Next, please. With regard to space and asset knowledge, there's a rising body of knowledge out there right now that I think it's really interesting, where the whole topic of space and asset knowledgement is evolving. The establishment of proper nomenclature and the establishment of fundamental processes that allow for the intelligent management of space and asset data, it's really critical throughout the entire project life cycle. We're going to take a look at how the combination of collaboration, data, and best practices can do several things for you in an AWP project. Can you go to the next slide, please? First, we're going to take a look at how the combination of collaboration, data, and best practices can support the evaluation of off-balance sheet financing options for your assets. We're going to look at how you can enable cost segregation and determine accurate asset cost basis, that can help you with accelerated depreciation. We're going to look at how you can streamline the testing and asset handover. And we're going to then take a look at how that whole process forms the basis and foundation for lifecycle cost analysis. Next slide, please. On the topic of team optimization, it's interesting. You know, unfortunately today, if you look out there and you read the data and you read the studies that are being done, a disturbingly large majority of capital projects are still not meeting owner expectations. And one of the most common reasons that's cited by owners for this is team effectiveness. Now, when I first bring this up to people, they usually sort of roll their eyes and you know, team effectiveness, that's sort of a soft topic, isn't it? And there is a soft side, if you will, to team optimization. But if you click to the next slide, please. What we're going to talk about in this session is there is a role that technology and process can play, and it's a valuable role in improving team alignment and performance. And we're going to actually even talk a little bit about some apps that are being developed that assist in this process. Next slide, please. And the final challenge that we're going to talk about, kind of the last frontier, if you will, around the questions that we will help you address is, you know, it involves measurement. How do we measure success for our AWP projects? Next slide, please. Brian's going to talk to you a little bit about how our collaborative platform is going to enable the collection of both process data and cost data that's going to enable benchmarking and project performance analysis. We're going to be able to take a look at the ability to really drill down and look at the performance of an individual project, and we're going to show the ability to aggregate data across multiple projects that can provide, you know, huge insight into setting benchmarks and driving continuous improvement. All right, and we'll take a look at some examples of scorecards that are being utilized to do that. Next slide, please. So that's about it. Again, I'm the only thing standing between the audience and lunch, I think, so I'm going to try to wrap it up quickly. We really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. I think you'll really enjoy talking with Brian at the conference. Brian's going to be presenting on Wednesday, October 11th in the actually I think it's the 11:30 session. And we look forward to the opportunity to speak with you at the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. So we're now in the question period part of this. If you could text us questions through the chat feature, we'll present those to the panel and get you some responses. So Steve, can you manage that process for us?
For sure, yeah. So there's a couple ways we can do it. We can you can either raise your hand using the raise hand feature in the attendee list, or you can send us a question through the questions panel. We do have one question that came in, I believe, during the Autodesk presentation. Does BIM 360 support linear workflow approval of documents? So
Chuck or Cody, can you respond to that?
I think we're trying to get unmuted here. So, are you there?
The question cut out on me. Could you repeat the question, please?
Sure, yeah. So the question came in, does BIM 360 support linear workflow approval of documents?
Not at the moment, but it is on our roadmap.
Okay.
We see BIM 360 kind of as a platform for published documentation at the moment, but it is on our roadmap as far as supporting those types of workflows.
Okay, great. So Alejandro had a question. Will we release these presentations? I believe you're maybe referring to this webinar. Yes, we are recording, and we'll make this available in archive format. We'll send a link to everyone after the presentation wraps up here. If you're referencing the actual AWP conference breakout sessions, it depends on the presenters. Some will release their presentations to the public after the conference. Some prefer not to, but you can find our AWP conference library on the awpconference.com website. Next question, will each technology vendor provide a demo of their product? I think that probably means at the conference. I'll leave it to the panelists. Maybe Autodesk want to start us out.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah. We will definitely be showing you in the breakout session. You know, we're not going to have time to really get a deep dive into a demonstration, but I will have some videos. But we'll be there absolutely during the conference, and if you want to pull us aside and get a deep dive into some of the technical weeds and try it out for yourself, we can absolutely do that.
Okay, great. And maybe Scott from Hexagon, did you want to address that?
Sure. Yes, we will have personnel there to address questions and demo products as requested. No problems.
Okay. Jim from Kahoot?
Yeah, likewise. We also will have people there that will be happy to demonstrate the products for you, and look forward to doing that.
Okay, and Amer, I believe he was having technical issues. He appears to still be muted but present. I don't want to speak for CCT, but I'm sure that if you were to approach them either at their breakout session or at their exhibition booth, they'll be happy to show you anything that you want to see in regards to their products. Amer, are you there?
Hello?
Hi, Amer.
Yeah, yes, can you hear me? I'm actually through the phone. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes, what I'm saying, yes, definitely we'll demo the software in the conference. If somebody wants to have a smaller version and like a demo trial on his site, we would be glad to give you a trial version to try it at your own location.
Okay, great.
So both. It's you can have we'll give you a live demo as well as we can give you a trial period for 3 months.
And speaking for Bentley, only because Eric's not here, I have talked to him about this, and they'd be happy to show you what they have as well. So I think that covers all 5 companies. I think we got time for one more question. Steve, do you have one on the line?
Could the presenters provide a listing of ERP platforms supported for integration? Maybe we'll start in the same order. Autodesk.
Sure, I don't have an exact list. I know we do have cases of integrating with things like CMIC, SAP, J.D. Edwards, et cetera, et cetera. Chuck, maybe you have a more experience in that side of things.
One of the things we'll discuss in our session is the cloud platform that we're developing on. We are making available those APIs available through an initiative we call Forge, which allows us incredibly robust capabilities to integrate to about anything. So in our session, we'll actually talk somewhat about the Forge platform.
Okay, Scott, Hexagon.
Sure. What I can say for that is we've done an extensive amount of work directly with SAP. And as far as the other ERP platforms, we have APIs basically intended to generically plug and play with any and multiple ERP systems as a whole.
Great. Jim, Kahoot?
Yeah, we have integrated with a wide variety of ERP and financial systems, and as you would expect, we also have quite a robust API. We would certainly be capable of sharing with you all of the specific systems with which we have already integrated, and it's a large number of them. But we would be certainly in a position to integrate with anybody were it a requirement.
Okay, and Amer, CCT, did you want to address the question for ERP platforms integration?
Yes, we did the integration with J.D. Edwards and with the SAP and Oracle, and we have an API that allow you to if you want to integrate with others.
Excellent, and we can pass this question along to Bentley later on as well.
Yeah, Steve, could you move to the last slide, please?
For sure.
So just to give you a heads up on the conference, we have, in addition to the top technology providers, we also have 4 of the biggest EPC companies coming, a very large construction firm. We have a large number of owners, and at this point, our registrations are equal to the actual event registrations from last year, and we still have over a month to go. So we think there's going to be some fantastic networking opportunities, some great presentations, and we hope to see you there. Thanks very much to all of our presenters for taking the time to share this with us. And if you have any questions for the presenters, please don't hesitate to go to the conference website, send us a question, and we'll connect you directly with the panel members. Basically, thanks to everybody, and we'll shut down the bridge now.